Hey everybody, so in the wake of Scott McKibben's ouster as the Executive Director of the Coliseum Joint Powers Authority, Oakland District 7 Councilmember Larry Reid and Alameda County Supervisor Nate Miley are the pair of politicians that are put in charge of the business of the Oakland Coliseum Complex. I don't mean to say this to be insulting, and I regard them both as friends, but this position sounds the death toll of sports in Oakland. It really does. And not because they're politicians, but look, because both Larry and Nate, as elected officials, have a million things on their plate they have to pay attention to. This is added to it. So it's not going to get the immediate attention it deserves, regardless of what they say. The situation I described to you is a new one on top of the large and growing list of actions that together have conspired to give Oakland a loser attitude, a loser image with respect to the rest of the country. Let me read off to you this situation. Let's review. 1, because I wrote them down. Oakland fails to aggressively retain the Golden State Warriors as then Oakland Mayor Jean Quan allowed herself to be out-hustled in the new arena race by the late San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee. 2, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf failed to maintain the promise of land that Jean Quan made to the Oakland Raiders. Then Mayor Schaaf failed to immediately act by filing an injunction to block any relocation action the Raiders might make the moment she got wind that the Silver and Black were working behind her back. That date was May 19th, 2015, and during the NFL Spring League meeting in San Francisco. 3, Oakland fails to make a plan for the economic development future of sports. That fact, just as the U.S. Supreme Court opens the door for sports betting nationwide, the Oakland Coliseum, to this day, still lacks any plan for the future, and Scott McKibben's forced resignation just pushed back that planned timetable even more. 4, Oakland fails to maintain what this blogger created in 1999 from scratch, the Oakland-Alameda County Sports Commission, an organization designed to promote the use of the many sports event-ready venues that Oakland has. We're quite rich in them. 5, Oakland City Attorney Barbara Parker evokes a little-known law to force Scott McKibben out, and for doing something in the so-called Ring Central naming rights deal, $50,000 kickback that he says he didn't do. Scott has said twice, "I never received money from anybody," and he's written that to me. Okay? But let me ask, whatever happened to an innocent until proven guilty? All right? And then get this, all right? Get this. Why didn't Barbara tell Scott that she had some questions about the Ring Central naming rights deal before she got tickets to the Coliseum JPA box for Game 4 of the NBA Finals 2019? Now, how do I know that? Because I was there. I greeted Barbara with a hug because I regard Barbara as a friend. But that doesn't mean I have to like this action. I dislike it up the wazoo. It's awful. John Russo, were he still city attorney of Oakland, would never have handled the situation that way. He would have found a way to retain Scott, and if he were deserving of any kind of monetary award or, thing for the hard work he did, John would have gotten it to him. And if he wasn't able to get it to him, John would have let Scott know without forcing him to resign. Because again, with respect to the California Fair Political Practices Act law and the area regarding conflict of interest, Barbara and her lawyers could have filed an exemption to protect Scott, and they could have made an argument and made the argument stick. But they didn't do that. And again, after she came to the JPA box for Game 4 of the NBA Finals, you know, and Scott's right there. Scott's sitting right over there. She's right over here. I'm in the back, you know, and we're all having a great time. Unfortunately, the Warriors lost that game. Is she blaming him for that? I'm wondering. So, you know, all this adds up to this situation. Come this fall, and growing in magnitude as we approach the year 2022 will be the fact that Oakland will be mentioned less and less in the national media, because there will not be the Golden State Warriors playing in Oakland, and there won't be the Raiders with the name Oakland in them. The reverse of what Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blankwood once said to me, that I can't imagine the name the Raiders without Oakland in it. He said that to me on video that you can see here at Zenny62 on YouTube. It's an awful situation. But what we need to do to fix it right now is get someone to replace Scott right now, not later, right now. There's too much business that has to be done to leave that chair empty. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsnow.com, Zenny62.com, and oaklandnewsonline.com.